The way that we are handling pollution is creating our time on Earth to become limited. Earth is our planet and our responsibility to keep clean from these extremely harmful pollutants. I gave a survey before the speech and know that almost everyone has seen some form of pollution in their lifetime. Even knowing that we add more pollutants every day, we still have lost touch with the reality of how important it is to change these routines before it's too late. Our environment has become humankind's trash can, getting closer to the point of no return with each passing day, even though simple changes in our routine could slow down the process drastically. In this presentation, I'm going to be discussing these following points. I'm going to talk about the three main types of pollutions. I'm going to talk about how these pollutions are affecting our environment and animals. And I'm going to be talking about what simple changes we can make in our daily routines that will slow this process down drastically. The three main types of pollutions are land pollution, water pollution, and air pollution. The first type of pollution that I would like to discuss is land pollution, which is solid waste that people discard and it does not make its way to landfills dedicated to waste. I found in an article by Alina Bradford on livescience.com, according to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, in 2014 alone, there was a total of 258 million tons of solid waste produced by Americans. 136 million tons of this waste was gathered in landfills, and only 34% was recycled or composted. That leaves 122 million tons of waste unaccounted for. Some of the main pollutions that households generate are plastics and anything that is not biodegradable, including things that people don't even expect to be pollutants, like diapers. The second main form of pollution is water pollution, which is any form of pollutant that makes its way into a water system, including oceans, rivers, lakes, and even aquifers. Based on my survey, almost everyone has heard about the BP oil spill back in 2010, which released 134 million gallons of oil into the Gulf of Mexico, according to the fisheries.noaa.gov. This caused great havoc across the Gulf and was one of the largest environmental disasters to date, and one of the most expensive. Alina Bradford states in her article that some of the most common water pollutants are toxic chemicals, sewage, pesticides, and even fertilizers. The last of the main forms of pollutions I would like to discuss is air pollution, which is when toxic gases make their way into the air we breathe and even into our atmosphere. According to my survey, most people think that this is the worst form of pollution. The air we breathe is made up of nitrogen, oxygen, water, vapor, and inert gases. When there is anything other than these elements in the air, then that is a form of air pollution. According to my survey, everyone believes that global warming is real and it is caused by something called the greenhouse effect. This is when toxic gases make their way into our atmosphere and inadvertently absorb the heat from the sun, but does not allow it to be released back out of our atmosphere. This process heats up the earth slowly, but more and more each year that passes without change. Now that I've spoken about the three main types of pollutions, I will explore some of the consequences that our environment suffers from these pollutions. How does this pollution start to affect our environment? Well, sea animals get into our plastics that we discard of, and they cannot digest them or they'll get stuck in them. According to 5gyres.org, which is an organization that is trying to slow down the plastic consumption across the world, they say 1,200 species are impacted by plastics through ingestion or entanglement. These include animals like birds, fish, turtles, dolphins, sharks, and even whales. They will get exposed to some form of plastic and either ingest it when they ingest it, which causes the plastic to stay in their system, or get entangled in it, which they lose function of whatever is stuck in the plastic. Both of these scenarios cause the animal to either die or make it way back to us when we end up consuming it, or other animals in the food chain when they consume it. So then they end up either dying or the process continues. Global warming and the effects it has on weather patterns, global warming is something that affects weather patterns, and it also affects animal behavior. I visited a website called ifaw.org, which explains the importance of the awareness of global warming affecting the animals around us. Global warming has caused more intense hurricanes, extremely hard to put out wildfires, and even extensive droughts. These have all built up massive casualties because of how dangerous they are. If we continue to add these greenhouse gases into our atmosphere, we are guaranteeing the extinction of some of the most vulnerable species, including ones like different species of whales, bacteria, which is extremely important because bacteria is one of the lowest forms on the food chain, which when you get rid of something at the bottom of the food chain, it will get rid of multiple species following. And then it will also affect birds because of their migration patterns, and they go by temperatures and all that. So there will be an extensive amount of birds showing up in Wisconsin when they don't usually get birds, as an example. Now that I've spoken about the effects pollution has on the environment, I'll explain how you can make little changes to your routine and help slow down the pollution in the environment. What are some simple changes you can make to help slow down this process? One of the simplest changes you can make is going plastic free. According to 5drivers.org, going plastic free is one of the simplest ways to counter these pollutants. Getting a reusable water bottle would eliminate a huge amount of your personal plastic use. Saying no to plastic bags at a grocery store also helps the environment because less plastic will be produced if there isn't a demand. Through my survey, I can say with the utmost certainty that we all despise the use of paper straws because nobody likes the texture and drinking soggy paper from their drinks. Though this is an effort that didn't quite hit the mark, it shows that there is an effort to push for a greener earth. You can also go grab some gloves and pick up some trash around your community. I did some research on how people can make an impact in North Carolina because you got to start somewhere if you want to make a difference. And I found something called Clean and Green on ncwf.org. This is a website dedicated to helping organize ways for you to get involved in picking up the litter that is killing the wildlife and polluting our waters. If you go around your neighborhood and just pick up half a bag of trash, you're already slowing down the annual waste that builds up over time. And according to my survey, most of you believe that recycling and spreading awareness are the best ways to combat these issues. Lastly, I would like to bring up that being involved in the environmental laws that we are able to vote for at any given time, these laws help slow down so many things because it is able to put an organization in place to combat these issues. So being politically aware and voting for the right things is extremely important to our environment. To sum it all up, there are so many forms of pollutions that are harming our planet, both environmentally and physically. Knowing that there are ways to help slow down this path to destruction created by man, I would love to see some of you take a bit of charge and change something in your normal routine to help fight for our planet. In this speech, I discussed the main forms of pollution that greatly affect our planet, what the pollutions are doing to our environment/wildlife, and some simple things you can do to help prevent some of the forms of pollutions. From my survey, most of you believe that individuals can help make change, and it is not on the companies to stop the pollution from growing. So if you believe that we can make a difference, why are we waiting to do so? To make a difference on the war between our planet and the enemy we call pollution, make sure that there are changes being made to your routine that will ultimately conquer the battle and put Earth back on top. Thank you so much.